Hello everybody and welcome to another video from Mida Travel. Today's video comes with a warning. We have booked our seats, or we thought we'd booked our seats on the Dreamliner for our Caribbean cruise in November, but unfortunately our seats no longer exist. So stay tuned and you will hear our story.
How Tui lost our pre-booked seats. Also, stay watching to see which row on a Dreamliner you should avoid if you want a window seat, because there is a row on the Dreamliner. If you book thinking you've got a window seat, you won't have a window to look out of.
No. So let's start off with our story. So we had paid £76 between us in was it February
We
last
booked.
year? Yeah, this year, and we have booked our seats. Well, we thought we booked our seats with Chewy. I don't know when we booked those around. It was quite early on, wasn't it? We booked
Yeah, it
those
was
around.
when we booked the cruise, so it was in February that we also booked the seats that we wanted on the plane and highlighted now on the screen.
Yeah, so £76 we paid, and we booked our seats, and we thought nothing more of it. And then, by chance, we went on to manage my booking.
In August.
August?
Yeah, mid-August.
Mid-August to check on our booking. But unfortunately, when we went on, our seats didn't exist anymore, and we hadn't chosen seats, which is a bit worrying because most of the plane was already booked up now.
Yeah, there was no record of the original seat numbers that we booked, and so we started to get a bit concerned because yes, the plane was pretty full, and the seats that we booked were still shown as having been booked. So I was like, no, it's everything's all right. You don't need to worry about it.
But me being a stress head, I was like, Mike, ring Chewy, go to the actual shop themselves and try and find out what's going on, because it didn't seem right, the fact that we had nothing to state where our seats were.
Yeah, so having been cajoled into it, I went to our local Tui shop where we originally booked the cruise. And I spoke to a lovely lady there, and she was a little bit puzzled. She checked the system, and she could find no record of the seats that we booked either. So she went off, spoke to the manager, came back and said, oh, it would appear there has been a time change to your flight. It's been delayed. And there was me thinking, oh, no. But the delay was only 10 minutes, so it wasn't a massive problem. But what she said was that there was also the possibility, the only reason they could come up with that our seats had disappeared was because they had had a plane change as well. But I don't understand really.
Well, the worrying thing is, now that we sort this out, we'll go back to that in a minute, is we've noticed that the plane that they've changed to is the exact same plane that they cancelled it from in the first place. So why wouldn't they just transfer the booking
Yeah,
directly over?
to the new plane.
So
But
ideally, we've lost our seats and they've just
yeah,
left it at
yeah.
that. And
And what was worse was we had no notification, one, of the time change of the flight, and two, that our seats had disappeared. We had no notification. And if you hadn't have pushed me into going in to check it, we would have turned up for that flight and wouldn't have had seats booked at all.
So we were a little bit annoyed because we've booked with Chewy many times. We've got great confidence with Chewy. We both have the app on our phone, and they've both got our email addresses. But unfortunately, not once did they tell us that these changes had happened. Now, the problem with that is we're traveling with friends this year, and we have promoted Chewy time and time again to our friends. And this is the first thing that happened, and they'd also lost their seats. So unless we'd have gone onto the
Yeah, yeah,
if we hadn't have gone onto the Manage My Booking app, we'd have never have known, and we'd
no,
have turned up to the gate on
yeah,
the day
yeah,
without
yeah.
any seats available at all.
So big warning, if you are flying on the 26th of November, definitely to Barbados with TUI, definitely check that your seats that you pre-booked still exist. And secondly,
There's a silver lining. There's a silver
yeah,
lining to this.
we
So
dodged a
we
bullet, didn't
did,
we?
we dodged a bullet because the seats that we'd actually booked weren't as good as we thought. So do you want to tell them about
Yeah, right. So let's go on to, there is a certain row on the Dreamliner where last year when we went with TUI, there was a gentleman sat 2 rows in front of us, and he was really, really disappointed because he booked what he thought was a window seat. And it turned out his window seat didn't have a window.
that? Just a wall.
It was just a plain wall, and he was absolutely gutted, and I'm not surprised. So there is a warning. Check that you are not flying in row 37. 37A and 37J are the two window seats that don't have a window. It might be worth. We actually went and looked at. There is a separate website where you can check to see if there are any warnings on seats.
Yeah, so a good tip there is don't trust the manage my booking plan of the plane. Find the plane,
Yeah.
go onto Google, check the actual seat plan because it will actually show you
Yeah.
what seats are in red, which
Yeah.
means that there's a problem with those seats. And I think there's only three we noticed, and one was
Yeah.
in premium economy,
Yeah.
and the other two were 37A and J.
Yeah.
Because last time we went on the Dreamliner, we booked the back two seats because there was a concern that they wouldn't recline. They did fully recline. So if you want a tip,
Yeah.
try and get the back two seats.
Yeah.
But failing that, do not book 37A or 37J.
It should be said that on the TUI, on the Select My Seat, the seating plan does not give you any warnings for any of the seats. And the twos that we had, the two that we had at the back of the plane last year, they actually have a yellow warning, which is just a slight advisory warning. And I think that is probably because they lacked above those seats and the back seats. There's the two, the three, the two. Above them is the cabin crew storage. So you have to put your overhead locker storage a little bit further down the plane.
And that is a policy with TUI because we noticed when we came on, because what Mike said is the sleeper cabins are above, so there's no stowage above. But TUI's policy was it's a first come, first serve. So you can put your bags wherever you want. You could put them right at the beginning of the plane if you wanted to. There was people coming up from the cabin in front to put their stuff in the back. So when we got on, which we were last on, there was nowhere to put our bags.
Yeah, because I have to say that we last year went on our cruise over the Christmas period. So flying to Jamaica, a lot of Jamaicans were going home for Christmas, and they had
A lot of baggage.
numerous hand baggage that they were taking on. And so that caused an additional problem in trying to find space in the overhead lockers. And there's also one other thing we should mention here about the pen.
Oh, yes. So when you go into the Caribbean, I'm not sure if it's the same with others, but you will have to do a lot of immigration forms. And nobody had a pen on our flight. Luckily, the stewardess, because we're such lovely passengers, lent us a pen, but they don't have to do that, and they're not obliged to do that. So one quick tip, guys, make sure you have a pen on you in your hand luggage because you probably will get stung with a lot of immigration forms.
Yeah, so really useful. So just to summarize,
Mhm.
firstly, if you pre-select your seats, do not think 100% you are going to get those seats, particularly if you get notified, although we didn't even have that, that there is a plane change or a time change. So be aware, keep an eye on your paperwork that you have your seats numbers down. Maybe even worth checking in if you've booked it through a local agent, checking with them that you are still down to have those seats.
I think a good tip as well is if you book in advance like we do, just pop on every week and just check your management booking to make sure nothing's changed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and the final thing to summarize, do not, if you want a window seat, do not book row 37A or J, because you will be very disappointed when you sit in that seat. There is no window.
So we hope you've enjoyed our video. We hope it's given you quite a lot of information. If you like our video and our content, please subscribe, click the like button. There's a lot more videos coming out. And as we've said, we will be cruising in November and you're going to see a lot more content then.
And thank you for watching.
Thank you.